Every other time with Eric, as promised, I told you guys I'll be bringing professionals. Today we have a doctor in the house, a guy who uses laughter as his medicine. He hosted me on his wonderful platform. It actually was a banger episode. Dr. Kingori is in the building. How are you doing? Man?
Thank you.
Thank you so much for honoring the invite.
Thank you for inviting me.
I must say, guys who've been in the industry long and guys who've actually put skin in the game, for some reason, you guys are the most chilled about coming and you respect time. You're easy. You don't have talk to my manager, talk to my PA. Let's do it next year in June. So thank you for that, man. I appreciate the humility. I appreciate someone of your stature in this game, and I feel like our engagements have been very cool and easy. So I respect that a lot.
Thank you. I didn't know I fit in a category. To guys who have had skin in the game, that's
skin in the game. You've been doing this more than 10 years, man. More than.
I've been doing, in terms of industry, yes, I think 15,
since you were 24.
20. Hey, I started at 18.
18.
Yes.
My goodness, 18. Yes, 18. Where were you at 18, man? I think I was.
I started at 18. In fact, actually, I started acting. I joined an acting group immediately. Like on the day I left high school, I just saw a poster, called them, and they told me to show up tomorrow, and I was in.
How are you doing generally, though? How is life? How is life?
Good vibes.
How is there's no wife and no kids yet, huh? No pressure?
Don't go there. Don't go there.
No, but generally, how is life treating you, man? We're living
vibes.
in a very unique time where it feels like the possibilities are limitless, but it also feels like the world can end at any moment. So how do you feel? Like how are you handling this energy that's there?
No, I'm having fun. I'm all about what God has in store for us. And I think the world has come to a place where when you mention God nowadays, it's controversial.
You're a weirdo.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
Almost a weirdo, yes.
I struggle with that as well. Sometimes you even find yourself being shy about expressing your faith or your beliefs.
No, me, I cannot be shy. I remember I made a commitment. There was one time, I think I was reading the Bible, alafu, I think I saw either a Bible or a movie where in the context of faith, I think Jesus said, watu watamgeuka ama like nini, and I remember telling myself, I will not be shy to like, oh Lord, Mr. Kugeuka and stuff.
So I'm going to start in a weird place since we started with God. We're living in a time where, of course, if you believe in God, it means you believe there's the other side of things. And I think time immemorial, that yin and yang, that fight between the proverbial good and evil has existed. And do you feel like right now, specifically in this era, in this time we're living, that evil is kind of winning? Or at least the appearance of evil winning seems to be?
I think that's all left to perspective. The Bible is very interesting read because and I think that's why people who are opposed to the idea of God use it so much, because there are times that unaonanga ati, evil is winning, like Pharaoh in the Bible, and then now God shows up. Like, have you watched a movie? It's like that's how the system works. You watch a movie and someone and a fight. The antagonist. Wase wa ushago anasemanga starring, like the star.
Yeah.
And a fight. And after he's killed everyone, now the police show up.
Yeah.
You understand? That's when help comes. Like, have you experienced this phenomenon? Like, you're almost in a corner, like you're almost giving up, and then things now.
Oh, have I?
Yes.
Oh, I have.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so it's all about perspective. I don't think like evil is winning. It's probably, it depends on the season you are in, actually.
You've talked about reading the Bible. A friend and I embarked on this journey of, that app for, I think it's called You, YouVersion or something. There's a program called the Bible in a year. So every day you cover certain verses. Okay, the Old Testament is the Wild West, man. Like, to make sense of what's going on. At some point, we're too confused. We're like, we don't know what to make of these stories in terms of our faith and how it ties to our faith. So, have you read the Bible, like in its entirety?
No.
So,
but I've been challenged to read the Bible by 2 people this year. In fact, 3. 3 people this year, and it almost feels supernatural.
Because, the Bible, in my experience, because I'm a Christian, I believe in God, I believe in
Yes.
a conventional story, Jesus. But when you start reading the Bible, trust me, especially Old Testament, it leaves you more confused than... Because what you think you know versus what's in there are very different, or there's so much more there that you're trying to tie to what you understand as a conventional story. But for you, let me ask, have you always been a believer? What's the origin of your having faith in God and being a Christian as well?
Okay, I have 2 stories, but also comes with a mix of things I learned as I grew up. Most recently, in fact, as recent as last week, I saw one of my favorite historians explain how the Bible comes about. People, like, there was very many stories that the Bible comes like 400 years after Jesus existed. So it was Yuval Noah Harari was explaining the place for misinformation, and then he gives an example. Yeah, ati kulikuwa na story mingi, so many stories that would some of which would be classified as Jabba stories. So they create a convention and as like a committee to actually now streamline this, so that we get to know which is the true account and which is not.
And this was word of mouth being passed down.
Yes, the word of mouth, but they are articles here. So they put together the committee and they decide which verses go in and which verses go out. So to the best of my knowledge, as a certified historian and who verifies sources, right? I'm yet to do independent research on that too. I believe that most of the Bible is an account of people who decided that people should consume this. Okay? That's on the Bible as a book.
So does that make it historical fact, or what does that make it?
Some of it is historical fact, because I've been to Pastor T's church in Limuru, and I noticed a very interesting phenomenon.
Shout out Pastor T. He's supposed to be coming soon, actually.
He should come. So there's a system, there's a sermon he does where he relates a verse from the Old Testament, from one book, and it ties in a very interesting way to a separate book that has nothing. I'll give it in context, right? There's a time that Saul is ordered by God to go kill a community in Eotwe, the Amalekites, okay? Everyone. So Saul spares their king, and I think a few of their livestock, kitu kama hiyo. And then God was mad at him for not doing that. Then fast forward to the book of Esther, whereby someone issues a decree, or someone influences the king to issue a decree that Jews be killed, like the Israelites be killed, okay? And then the person who is doing this, right, is a direct descendant of the king.
That was spared.
I think, yes, Agagite, direct descendant. And after the will of God prevails in that context, whereby Esther speaks to the king, and the positioning, it's a whole sermon, very neatly done, and I like connections and cause and relation. So when he does that, he now has to finish what his the forefather did not finish, and kills the Agagite guy and his children, and that becomes the end of that generation. So when you look at it from that perspective, you're impressed by how connected this is. But then, the way my mind works, I'm like, kwani who created the Amalekites?
In fact, that's a good question, because you've used the word, you said context, and
Yes.
that takes me back to my experience trying to read the Bible, starting with the Old Testament. That God is almost unrecognizable in terms of what we conventionally now know God to be, because you're telling a guy to kill a specific tribe or group of people. Can you imagine that today? Like Kingori go and take out all the Kikuyus and take them out and their leader. Like, it sounds very strange. So for me, that incongruence around, was God different? Ama was he ruling differently? Ama were the rules of the game different that time? So that's why when I talk about it, left me more confused.
When you're open-minded enough, you can go deeper in other contexts. Kama, for example, when you try to understand, like when you want to justify like why God would make such decisions. If you are a farmer, right? Sindio? If you are a farmer, and let's say you've planted beans, right? Mm-hmm. And then there are weeds growing within the beans. They are all plants, right? Mm. But you may need to get rid of the weeds so that the good
prevails.
So
the Amalekites were they like a weird tribe?
You could say that. They are the first tribe, according to Pastor T's sermon, to attack the Israelites. And according to the Bible, the Israelites were God's chosen people. So God, for that reason, decided that they will be finished. You understand?
Yeah.
So when I look at that, naangalia najiambia, this is interesting.
And does that tie into today's where do you believe the Israel there that we are seeing and what's happening that side, do you think those are the real Israelites, or is that it's a very delicate topic?
It's a very delicate topic. I've not done independent research on that, but as an open-minded person, it goes to the question. I think you can counter that question, for countries that don't believe in God, like, or countries that do not worship the God that Christians worship, kama China, will they all go to hell?
It's a good question. Those are some of the things that keep me up at night. You know, you wonder, is it an exposure thing? Is it I move back and forth between science and Christianity.
You may believe in God.
Yeah, I also believe in God, but the ebbs and flows of the stimuli around us sometimes makes you look at things like. But whenever I'm in that phase, usually there's not something good happening in my life. That's what I've found. Either I'm stressed, or when I start going the science route, which social media offers you so well, if you want to enter a rabbit hole of we're living in a simulation, the rabbit hole is there for you. But usually it ties to a point of crisis I've found. When I look back, hindsight, so over time I've simplified it. Life with, life without. Life with God just tends to flow better. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. The intricacies I may never understand deeply. So I had to simplify it for myself, lest I would have ended up in permanent crisis and mulling over this thing. Yeah. So ultimately, I think God exists. Yeah.
Knowing God is personal, if you ask me. And if you go by knowing God as per what has been presented to you, you will be wrong, because you are likely to get lost, because the template that the world has, most people don't take time to do independent research, right? Most people subscribe to God as God has been presented to them, and we can ascertain that in today's world, God has been misrepresented.
So have you explored other religions in your, just your curiosity? Hata kama ni juju.
Yeah, like just checking, like kujua, but I'm in a place where I think when I say God has been misrepresented, in conversations I've had, kama one of the deep conversations we had with a guest named Dr. Joe Mwai. He's a metaphysicist.
Nice one.
Yeah, he has invested in understanding the metaphysical, like life beyond existence, right? And in his opinion, he feels like God is energy. And the idea, God being omnipresent, God being everywhere, he made a very solid argument for me, according to me. Alisema, God has to be spiritual, because that's the only way he can be everywhere. Because matter occupies space. So if he was everywhere in material form, there will be no space for anything else.
Also, he's used a very scientific explanation that makes sense, actually.
Yes. Yes. Plain and simple, right? I know what you've experienced God. Like,
certainly.
People like to deny that, but me, I one of the experiences I happened with a friend who is an atheist in denial. Like,
atheist in denial meaning
he's scared to burn in hell. No, he's scared to burn in hell because of the hangovers at Sunday school, but he's too exposed to believe in God.
Yes,
like in the textbook format. Yes. Yeah.
So there's a lot of guys like that, and they end up, they believe as an insurance policy. Like in case.
Yes, just in case. Just in case.
Kakinuka. I believed, man. But now, and I don't want to dwell too much on God. I know we started on a very heavy tone. But from what you're saying, because you're a very open-minded guy and you had some very interesting engagements with both literature and people. You've met some very interesting people. You're saying you believe in God, but are you saying are you Christian, or you believe in God, like there's a supreme being? Those are two separate concepts.
I'm finding my way back to church. My foundation is in church, and I am a result of a prayer that worked. And I've said this on very many platforms, that our Sunday school teacher taught us how to pray. And when I look back in retrospect, like for the things that I do, the prayer that we were taught in Sunday school, like pray how David prayed, right? And I see the feedback from what I do. I'm like, wow.
So do you pray? You pray to the point, because David, was infamous for he tear his clothes. And
but no, bana.
Not literally.
No, just one prayer. Just one prayer. We umeenda sana bana. Bana, no. We were told that our Sunday school teacher, Pastor Margaret Motweri, shout out to her, alituambia, just pray like David prayed. Sema, I ask for God's favor in that which I do, right? And that's my prayer. That has been my prayer for the longest time.
You used a nice word, favor. So let's take it back a bit. Yes. I feel like people who do what we do, albeit different versions or the small differences here and there,
yes,
are naturally curious. So take us back to like when you're a child. Were you always a curious, inquisitive individual?
Super curious. Kai, and I think my label was, unakuanga na maswali mingi sana. Like you have so many questions. That I remember a cousin of mine who was 20. Nikiwa, I was how old? He was 20 and I was, I think, 12. Being shamed for hanging out with me. Because I'm interesting.
Ulikuwa na form?
Sina form, niko na mastori, but niko na maswali. So he had been, one time, I was in Shags and we are coming from the Posho Mill. And now he's guilty from the shame alikuwa amepewa, and he had to tag me along. So I remember the place and the time when he's like, can you focus on one thing? Because I asked him one question, and as he's processing that, I already have asked another one. And he's like, can you stick to one topic? And then he throws in that he wants to distribute the shame equally pia. Now jueni mtoto, like why am I even hanging out with you and stuff? So I think that going back in time, I had so many questions, and I knew who to ask.
I think it's one of the most favorable attributes to have, being inquisitive, because specifically even in our context, let's talk about Africa. Yeah, let's talk about Africa. We were raised. I did it for 4 months. You did it for 4 as well.
Yes.
We were almost taught not to question. Like, listen, obey. Obedience was kind of lauded, do as the teacher said, do as your parents have said, do as the elder has said. But now when you start coming of age in our mid-30s, you see so many flaws in certain philosophies that were spoken as truth. Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of people my age and older still victims of that societal box of this is how we do things, this is how we roll. And I think majority of society are kind of shepherded all their lives through that kind of control. And for you to be an outlier, being inquisitive is a very integral part. So it's a positive trait. Did you face problems in school around things like being too curious? Question. Did you used to question authority also? Like, why are you saying we should do this?
I've been in trouble for jokes. And for now that I do my best to raise my awareness levels, I'm scared of going too hard, especially in personal space. Like, when I meet my friends who are in the security sector, say a soldier, I can go. Like, I can go hard. Like, in that direction, oh Lord, I can go hard. I found myself asking a person in the security sector, let me not label then hapana, hata skuuliza hivyo, nilimuuliza tu, I just asked him what's his experience with a man before you make the decision to kill him.
Damn, that's deep, man.
Bas mpaka ikafika place nikamwambia no, so if you feel like I'm going to a place where if you are called to tie loose ends, you may mention me.
Let's explore
Stop
that.
myself.
Let's explore that.
Let's not go there.
Let's explore.
Kianan,
Is it conscious? In his answer, is it a conscious thing or it's a task thing? You know,
oh dear Lord.
Because it's a profession. Is it a task? Person A causing problem, need to take them out.
I'll organize a meeting with him and asta kuambia until we meet him. Alafu you ask the question.
Because that's a
very deep.
Did he go there with you without being specific?
Yes, it was so scary. I was not scared of him. I was scared of myself.
Yeah.
Because I was scared of what I may find out. Because I know myself. I was scared of what I may find out. I was scared of myself.
So
and I started avoiding him.
Now you're a naturally funny guy. So tie in, how does a humor come into this curious, inquisitive person? How does humor come about? Is it a tool to get the same result from this inquisition that you had?
It's let me call it an urge. An urge. Like from, I think my earliest memories of humor in lower primary school, when I was not confident enough to do a joke, right? I wasn't confident enough to do jokes, right? So I used to tell it to someone. I say something to someone, and then they say it, and then people burst out laughing, okay? So that happens for a period of time, and then...
You're a ghostwriter.
Yes, ghostwriter vibes. So that happens for some time, but then again, we get to a place, we just have to. Kwanza, our high school was something else.
So was that your first experience with performance and like standing on stage and making people laugh? What format did you...
No, performance. As in formalities, sasa now when you decide to pursue it as a career is when now you can actually talk about a performance and stuff. But my best flex in comedy, if you ask me, one of my best actually, was a time when a cousin of mine was trying to, like, he had a girl and he was trying to, like, have sex. No, like, literally have sex. It's one house, and he couldn't get me to leave because I wanted to see.
Oh, so you're not getting hints. Go for a walk.
He gave me all the hints, but I could not. I purposed.
How old were you?
I purposed. I was in class 8. I purposed. I wanted, like, tumesoma reproduction in class 6. Now, when I go back to school, I have
cheeky guy, eh?
Yes, like I have the whole setup. So I think him, knowing I was a kid then, he decided to wait me out. And so in that room, it was a hut. There happened to be a phone, like Zilema, the big phones. Remember, it was a Panasonic. No, it was a Panasonic mobile phone, very big. So after intervals, I used to count myself down. And then I was annoying him, but he also has to operate in a decorum, I think, too, like to be polite and stuff. Then I passed out. Kalala. It was morning. So now, I carried this story in my head. So, kuna cousins, family gathering, like cousins, and the mom is sitting kama hapo mahali Fox America. And I told this story. Everyone else was getting what's happening except his mom. And I remember that moment. Hata hakuna stima, ni hizo mataa za ushago, like nini. I remember telling this story na everyone else knows what I'm talking about, except the mom. So now, it's humor on 2 levels. My cousin, he knows, I don't know how he trusts me with boundaries, right? Many boys and 1 sister. The sister anacheka anaingia huko chini ya meza, but the mom is wondering
why you
guys laughing,
which is also funny. Now that's the second layer. So that's one of my highlights, is flexing. And then the second one is in high school. These are the ones that pop up combined. In high school, our Swahili teacher, she had a very funny nickname and an interesting voice, right? The nickname was disrespectful, but the voice now. So there was a joke that used to run around school, and it started with a statement, right? Respectfully, I'll not say the statement, but say it in Kitumbaya, it's something in a set book.
So we are doing a read through your class where everyone reads, like we are reading in turns, like in class. And then the line that falls right in my desk, right? It wasn't long, like the lesson had just started. So it's like 3 people. And then the line that lands for me is the line that starts the joke yenye na running around. And I read it in her voice.
Guys.
So now that has very many layers of context. As in, the class was uncontrollable. So Mimi, no, I'm the only one not laughing because I don't know kama I have crossed. So I'm like, crucify me tukimaliza. But you're on. Do you know, the class couldn't continue. She just gave us work akaenda. But not in a bad way. But because like it was, people were laughing, alafu ikienda could die down, someone starts tena inakuwa.
So did that confirm to you that perhaps I have a gift that's different?
No, that was me. It was I wasn't looking for confirmation. That was me. That has been me.
So you're already sure of yourself. Suppose what I'm leading to is when you are choosing a career path, you know, who was I talking to recently, and we were talking about how the arts in Kenya especially, maybe be specific, any form of the arts was never encouraged per se. Very rarely would your parents or your guardians guide you in that way. You know, what do you want to be? I want to be a teacher, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a it was always the kind of, arts was kind of, you want to do arts, you want to be a singer, you want to be a, so how was that career choice for you? How did you go about that?
I did not choose. It chose me. It's plain and simple. Because every move I've made has been connected. Like connected. Because finish high school, direct, same day, make a call to...
the poster you saw?
The poster I saw. Funny enough, the guy who started the platform that I started with is now a police officer, last I checked. A police officer.
Cop?
Manzi. So now, it was Vini Embu. I think people were my era when I'm...
Shout out Vini.
Yes. So now he starts the theatre group, Spartans Art Theatre. I do 1 season. It doesn't even materialize to anything. And when I do that for a bit, like for a season, Vinny was such a tough guy, but there were things I was doing. One time, ushaona ataki kucheka, so one day he burst out so hard, akaenda uko nje kwa...
He was trying to be gangster about his...
Yeah, he was trying... But he's gangster. Vinny ni gangster, but he's a soft gangster. Good vibes. Ukimcross vibaya, shauri yako, but when he's a gentleman, gentle giant.
Yeah.
He is. So I do that for a bit, and then I don't know, I get a stint that I want to be a musician. Then
Dr. Kingori, you have songs?
No, just one, but I hope no one has a
I
copy.
hope it's there.
I hope no one has a copy of that studio. That studio, that song, that studio was flooded.
What
Conscious
genre?
music. I sang about politics, Maze, and it's very embarrassing.
Please,
no
guys.
one has a
I'm
copy
going
of
to
that
request, guys, scour the internet for me.
No, I confirmed the producer of that song. Last time I mentioned it, producer Ike watched that episode and he was like, "Oh, that song was not that bad." But trust me, if he doesn't have a copy, no one has.
You would cringe if you watched it again.
It wasn't even a video. It wasn't even a video. It was a message of politics, like I preached about unity in the first and second verse. And then the third verse, I was greeting people. But even the people who were being greeted in that song couldn't get to that part of the greeting. That's how
It was that bad.
It was that bad. As in now, in retrospect. As in then, and I loved listening to that song. And I could play it on repeat.
But the thing,
and I was using it to put people to sleep, but I didn't understand.
But the thing with Usani, at any level, whether it's comedy, music, art, the origin is always cringe. Like if I used to be in a band back then, and I pray to God also, those things never come out. But it's that daring to even step in a studio, step on a stage. It shows that the innate Msani was already in there. It
was there because my grandfather used to play there's an instrument very nicely. And I think I have memories of him singing like twice, like just chilling in his heart. Alafu, he plays a tune. I'm like, whoa. And I did not know until one day my dad says in passing, Ati, my grandfather told him to drop the guitar and focus on a skill. So he also wanted. I tried to press him further, but he's one. I think one of my achievements would be to have a conversation with my father on camera, because he has good vibes, but getting him to crack past where the meat is.
What episode have you? How many episodes have you done of your show right now?
I think on average I've done, like when I count up to, for now, I think over 100, but from joining, putting together what I did at Nation, I've had close between 400 and 500 conversations.
Why don't you set a specific, the reason I'm bringing this up is because one of my good friends like, episode 100, you have to have your dad, Remember on episode 40, this should be 47 or 48. So for you, why don't you do him on like episode 500 special?
I'm very, very tempted to do that actually.
Yeah.
I have conversations. Kwanza, there's a story he gave me in their quest to look for wealth they got wind that there was mercury somewhere. Alafu in their story yao ya kwenda kutafuta mercury, they get chased by a lion. It's a very interesting story.
Yeah.
But he doesn't finish it.
Yeah.
And getting him to talk about it, saying,
but don't you find like that's a very common theme in Africa, where it's very rare for people to say they've had a real deep conversations with their fathers? Things were always very instructive. I want you to do this, I want you to do that, be here by this time, I want you to do things like this, and then you're just there, a law-abiding citizen. You kind of respect your dad, but it was from afar. But in terms of getting into the meat and potatoes of right now, me and my dad, that's something we've started developing. We talk on a very man level now. But of course, growing up, that was not a thing in Africa. Well, in Kenya, let me speak for Kenya.
Yeah.
Very, very rarely. But I think it's important, and I think if I was to ever have children, I'd try engage them more, because you can actually reason with it. I always say you can
reason. That's very specific. If I'm to ever have children, that's very specific.
Yeah. What do you mean?
If I'm ever to have children, that's what you said, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna trauma and die.
What do you mean trauma?
Okay, the way it came out.
It came out like I don't want or I want.
You are anti-kids.
No, I'm not anti-kids at all. Not at all. Not at all. I philosophically, I believe not everyone should have kids. Genuinely. The same way I don't believe marriage is for everyone. I think.
Ever explain that, Kidogo? Not everyone should have kids.
Because there are people who have the ability to be a deadbeat. and they
career deadbeat.
Yeah, and they sleep at night, Such a person, I mean, were they meant then to have children? If you can just walk away from your kids and just go live. So I don't think it's for everyone. I don't think
so. That's why you're not sure of where you lie. Like you're not.
No, for me, I'm at a point where it's more about when should I have them, not if I should have them.
Or when. Okay.
When. Because I'm 2 years married now. The typical thing is, you're married now, I have kids now. But then when I look around, I'm like, do I need to have them right now? Does it have to be right now? My wife is still young. She still
that's
has...
very conscious.
Yeah.
Kai.
Because
that's very conscious.
Because I talk to my peers, my age mates, guys I grew up with, and they tell me the moment you have them, there are certain things you can't explore anymore because you're kind of now...
Ludwig Kraf. I'm a Vasco da Gama explorer.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't. Yeah.
Okay.
So you try your hand at music, you have a banger, so to speak, or a lullaby.
A banger juu ya vile ligonga chini. I think it's a lullaby. Kai.
So,
by the way, I've curtain raised for Jua Kali actually.
With that song?
Yes, with that song.
There has to be footage, man.
They can't be. I gave one copy to Jua Kali, one copy to Jalango, and one copy to Ogopa DJs.
But if you curtain raised, it means it wasn't that bad for Jua Kali.
The people, imagine if I sang a song that I mentioned you inside, but you never get to listen. you don't even know
shout-outs.
Kama ukusikia shout-outs in 3 minutes. But kama ukusikia shout-outs in 3 minutes.
So how did you know it was, that was your litmus to know that, maybe music is not for me?
No. Me I was sure nitamuka na ngoma vibaya. sana. I was very sure.
So how does it now become the comedy route? Because I'm really trying to build how you pivoted from, Usani, like I say, Usani lives within. The version of eventually comes to light. I tried my hand at stand up. Eventually you find your thing. So how did it build from attempting music to now comedy, and then all the way to what you do now because you do interviews in a very unique style. It's it's comedic, but it's deep at the same time.
Thank you.
So how did it evolve to that? And then you started young. A major TV station gave you a very serious job at a very young age. So how did it evolve to that?
One, I've come to market my song in Nairobi, and I'm hanging out at my uncle's place. So I'm waiting for Juakali to call back, Jalango to call back, so that I can start performing for Safaricom Live and stuff. Like, these are superstar in waiting.
Why aren't you all calling?
So as a superstar in waiting is just chilling at my uncle's place. One of his neighbor's sons pops up, because I'm still a stories guy. Like, I'm still the guy people gather to listen to.
Yeah.
Okay? So he pops, and he knows also I have a background in acting and stuff. So he pops and ananiambia, there's a comedy competition, and my friend and I want to write some jokes, to compete. If we win some cash, we'll share with you, right? So they come. So nikamwambia, what kind of jokes do you want? And I remember the exact words he said. Like, look at NTV, for example. Their logo, their slogan was "Standing on Your World." So give us a joke about that. So
these are your age mates? What's the demo?
No, they are older than me, Kidogo.
Okay.
They are older than me, Kidogo. And I think older 4-5 years or more, okay? Because that was a cause for disagreement, conflict, apombele. So now they come, give them a few jokes at around 10 a.m., give them a few jokes. They went to rehearse at the social hall. At 1 p.m., they come back. They're like, oh, we've been told that this comedy competition allows 2 to 4 people. You can join us. Kambia sina hata fare. You don't even have the transport. Wakasema tutakulipia. Oh, man's got sponsored. Tukaenda, tukafika. So in the comedy competition, I find that it was not a stand-up stand-up comedy set. Apparently it's a sitcom. So now we changed the script, raka. We go to compete. So in our first, it was 10 groups.
It's a sitcom. So like your
sitcoms, like sitcoms, people like you create situations, act them out, and then you compete skits.
So like improv kind of.
Yes. So we put something together, raka, and then we get on set. It was a comedy competition on GBS. They call it Gag Battle. So now in this competition, out of 10 groups, we become number 4. Like, what do you mean? Just put this thing together. Oh, and they gave us transport back. So like we were given, for being number 4, they gave us, was it? Because I got, was it 2K? Because, no, I got 200, but I think, was it that? Because I remember I paid back the transport nilipewa kurudi, and I still had something. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But then again, in that performance, the judge of that competition was Lucy, the judge at Vio Jamaa Command. And the statement he said was, like, on that, because they used to give you feedback, like real time. After your set, after the competition, they give you your feedback. Sema, before they announce the winners, Sema, you boy, I was in a red t-shirt. The boy with the red t-shirt, you did very well. In fact, it is your team members who are letting you down. You were like, those are my sponsors.
Yeah. These are my endorsers, man.
These are my endorsers, yeah. So now...
So was the aim of such a thing to scout talent for TV? What was the purpose of such a...
It was an idea. It was a concept they were doing, entertainment, and also like sort of like propping up talent.
Okay.
Right? The producer alikuwa anaitwa Esther. Like, I remember a lot of people from them. So now, from that competition, we were like, kama hatukuwa serious and we became number 4, then what does it?
What if you are serious?
What if we were serious? And then we decided to be serious with it. And then they bashed my 2 friends so much.
Wait, serious means now we write, rehearse, practice more.
Yes.
Okay.
But then that became a point of conflict because when I immersed myself into creative, like the creative process, my friends felt like, in fact, one of the statements was, when mtoi unatuambia nini? Like they are older.
What was the age gap?
I think at least 6 years. 4, 5, 6.
Let me ask you a question, and I know I keep bringing up Africa,
No, it's
Kenya.
fine.
Is that an African thing? Because, and the reason I'm asking this, I've heard Eddie Murphy, his late brother, talk about him and how he took him for. Eddie Murphy was so funny at home. They're like, hey, this guy, we need to take him somewhere. And despite the age gap, he knew this guy is way more talented, and it was not a thing. So this thing for age and unatuambia nini, is that an African thing?
Yes. The thing I mentioned to you about power distance index. Yes. Like so in our society, we recognize your authority. We don't question, even if they are wrong.
Do you think that do you think that has a lot to do with why we are where we are, just generally, even as a country?
Partly yes.
Okay. So they tell you unatuambia nini?
And this was after a few episodes, and I think they start giving suggestions, because I used to do freestyle sana, because also I think I remember I have done community theater a lot. Like there was a time there was a time I did that, and I don't know that, I think that comes after community mobilization. Like you just pop up in a place like kwa mtaa, then you create a scene and people gather, then you act, and then you give them condoms. Like I did a lot of that, HIV sensitization.
So were you getting a small payment?
Yes. And at some point I used to write those skits, and now I got immersed into writing. I used to write those skits. Someone came with us to us with a gig. They used to pay me 1,000 bob, only to later 1,000 bob per gig, only to later realize that they were signing up for what I was doing, and they were paid 6K for every.
You are being subcontracted.
Yes, I was being subcontracted. No, they were signing. Subcontracted, and then they signing as me. You understand? But all this was just to push potential, like practice and stuff. GBS, the comedy competition. My friends and I split up. I was put together in another group with was it JB Masanduku and 2 other guys. In the comedy competition, we became number 2. And
as you're writing, are you still waiting for Juakali and them to call?
Yes.
In your mind, you're like, no, I'm here temporarily.
Yes.
Just waiting.
I'm just I'm a placeholder. I'm a placeholder. This is Sean Paul loading. Yes.
And Sean Paul that time was our true north.
And then I have a friend, Akianari. I played that song to my friend. My friend, he used to be he's a chef actually for an airline to date, and his brother is a soldier. So I go visit him. Then they ask me, I've never been ashamed of being a musician for any time. So now I give them.
So they make fun of you about this?
No, they don't make fun of me. It's worse. There is fun, and then there is
what they do.
So now, but then what do you do? I'm a musician. By that time, I have a CD. That's my identity. I have a CD, and there's my picture on this CD. Oh, by the way,
tell me you have a bandana. Please tell me you have a bandana. Because bandanas.
I have bandana trauma, because one time this Isa vibe catches up with me so much that nikaenda nikakata. Unaona ile ngodha ya cowboy. The cowboy vibe.
Or to make a headband.
So I had cut it to kidogo hivi. The moment I wore it hivi after kuitengeneza, and the amount of time I had invested, nikatokana hivi, mama yangu akaniona. And I don't want to say what happened next, but I carried trauma from that. So now I give my friend the CD, iko mpaka na namba yangu. Mpaka they confirm, hey, by the way, it's you, it's him. That's a big deal, right? Like, this is your picture.
Yeah.
Akaiweka. And the song started, akaitoa, akasema, hawezi imba kama Musa Juma, like, okay.
Hey!
As in, aliingiza tu hivi kidogo, akasikia, akaitoa. You can't sing like Musa Juma, like you.
So what was the moment of truth?
Kidogo. Ni kama ile kitu ya watu kusema, ati Jeff akipigwa vizuri anaweza ongea fiti.
Mambo, niaje. Poa. Itakuwaje?
Ni weekend.
Oh my.
Business done.
News.
That's like the context.
So what was the moment of truth where you realized, maybe not this? Because from what I'm hearing, even as the real talent that you have, writing, scripting, acting, comedy, is blossoming, you still have a hang up with
with the music.
Yeah. So what was your moment where you realized, maybe maybe I just go this path. Perhaps this one is not the one.
No, I don't think I had a moment.
So are you still waiting?
No, no. No.
Bien, if you're watching.
We had a show where with Habib, Isa's brother,
Yes,
and
yes.
Nameless.
And Manga.
Akaniambia Ogopa will call, so I'm waiting.
You're still waiting.
They'll call. But I can't sing for
You said a name there, JB Masanduku. Are you guys still in contact?
Yes, we're still in contact. But
Talented guy, man. I empathize a lot because I've been through that same struggle. I see what he's going through. I always say it's savable, you know, if of course if the person wants it, you know. Yeah, just a thought because you mentioned him. He was a really gifted guy. Or
he
not even was.
He's still. JB, God bless him from where he is, one of the most humble people I know. And I wish him all the best, and I wish he conquers that.
Absolutely, man. So now, how does it evolve to? Because I'm trying to get to KTN. Was it NTV first?
I've been to all the stations actually. I've been to Citizen. I've been on Citizen. I've been on KTN. I've been on NTV for the last.
How did the moniker Dr. Kingori come about?
It's one. My mom wanted me to be a doctor, kabisa, like legit. She wanted me to be a doctor, and I think it's a combination of two factors. One time when I get to the big stage, Kenya Corner comedy. When I get to do Kenya Corner, at the desk where they are asking for names, one, I decided to use a different brand identity, and then just to spice it up with doctor, because laughter is the best medicine. There's not much science to it actually.
And that one stuck.
Yes.
And
That's stuck.
what was your motivation to start is it a talk show or is it a late night show? Where did you get your inspiration for that? Because in the West, of course, this has been a format that's been there since the 80s, you know, and people used to wait for, was it like 9 p.m. to watch the likes of Kina Leno and them. Is that where you got this format from? Or and of course, this is before now what you do currently.
Yes, I was seconded to Nation by Captain Otoyo Sibor and Obina. They used to do a show. Called
Obina's in this game that long?
Yes.
Okay.
He started out as a musician actually. When we were performing in clubs, there's a season I performed stand-up in clubs. So he was a musician. He used to come as a musician for the intermission.
Yes.
And then he decided to do comedy. So now, having performed in Kenya Corner, Captain Otoyo liked how I wrote, like my thought process in writing jokes, because I used to write for myself. And then he's like, they were given a show. He vetted me and a team of like 6 other guys, and eventually ended up giving 2 of us a gig, like Desago and myself. So we used to write that offside show. So while writing that offside show, I became experimental. I got in trouble one time for sneaking to go to Churchill show, like to flex. Like it was the only platform I hadn't performed at. So I go there one time. Then our boss, I think one of my first scripting teacher, like Sasa professionally before Larry now, she finds out and she gave me a choice. Akaniambia, you either choose to work here, be serious when you needed. So we were recording on Tuesday. Churchill show ilikuwa Tuesday pia.
So it was like a bucket list thing for you? Like I have to do Churchill.
No. As a comedian, I was like, how do I know if my content can relate to this audience? So I wanted to go check it out.
How was that?
I did a few episodes, I think between 4 or 6. Yes.
Okay. And they translated,
Single thing
like
that I
people were receiving you well?
Yes. But I was very deliberate. I didn't want to create my brand and identity on the platform for reasons I like from earlier then. I was very conscious. I didn't want to somehow everyone was tagged na Churchill show. Naniwa Churchill show.
Actually, you're right.
I wanted to create
Breaking
an
free was very difficult, even optically at the time.
To date, people struggle to get from any. But he did his best. Alipatia watu platform, and it really launched careers.
So you're given these choices. You're told.
And I have to have an outlet. Like for comedy, I have to have an outlet. So what happens is I come up with an idea. like I used to do voices. Like I used to have voice characters in my stand-up sets. So there's one that was very dominant in my sets. So one time I get Captain Eotwe was supposed to voice a story, but he wasn't available. So the producer Effie asked me to voice like the story. And,
Effie
Effie Mwangi, Effie Mwangi. He's at Citizen now.
Okay.
He's one of my destiny connectors.
Destiny providers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now, when I decided to voice that story, the clip went viral.
What was
when
the
it
story?
aired. It was there was a drunk guy. So I just sat down and wrote a script for it. And when I did that script, I remember our boss was mad because the show is half an hour long, but people were only talking about a 2-minute clip.
Yeah.
And that became the birth of one of the characters I used to do. So that becomes a build-up. Then on top of that, I realized that I had a play with words, like in writing. So in writing the script, I used to title the stories like with very interesting wordplay. So people started taking note of that. So when they canceled the show, I think Larry and I were friends then. So Larry tells me I can do a show myself. Larry Mado.
You said we were friends then. You're not friends anymore?
No. We are friends.
Okay.
Like, can I say, okay, careers have taken a different
lot of
path,
space and time
but the
between.
reverence is still the same.
Okay,
Still
fair
respect him as much to date. If I pop him, sipendi kusumbua watu. But if I just hit him up on phone, nitamget. Ni vile sasa, like kuna kila mtu, like paths are different, but the respect still remains. So we had started becoming friends. So it happens that in our engagement or friendships, he's the first, among the first people to propose that I can have my own show.
Did you believe it yet?
One, our relationship with Larry was very interesting. When he came first, akatupata kwa desk na desagu. Larry unajua, he doesn't sugarcoat. Akaza, who are these guys? And they were like, we are writers for a new show that's coming. Because we were in, like, we joined in November, and then the show airs in December. So kuna hii November still. So we were placed at desk yenye, the creative desk at NTV. So he's like, who are these guys? Kasema, we are writers for a new TV show. Say, like, what do these children know about writing for TV? Today I understand what he meant, but then it made me mad. Right?
He was seeing something you were not yet able to see.
Writing is not at ease.
Not
You
a
have to
game.
be at you. No. So now I understand and process.
And that's a factor of training or talent? Because
Both.
Both.
Yes, both. So when he says that, I'm like, yeah. But then now, when the show comes, we do some creative ideas that they borrow for the trend. Sometimes there's some clips we use and they borrow for the trend. So we start getting close, like getting to know each other and stuff. And then I'm like, he's like, you can get a show on TV. Then, okay, really? So when they cancel that show, I get now seconded to the trend because I can write. Mark Masai also comes through because he wants me to do the Kenyanji character on his show Press Pass. I was like, no, this is too serious. No, I can't.
This is too serious of a show for me to now bring this.
And I ducked him. I ducked him for some time.
Because when I think about Mark Masai, then humor and Mark Masai,
Wait. Mark Masai is very funny. Kai.
but not his on-screen persona.
Hey, Mark is very funny.
Off-screen.
Off-screen, Mark is very funny. And Mark, okay, very funny. Let me say witty. Like, Mark is super witty.
But he presented very serious. You know,
Yes.
Today.
Yes, and his show was very serious. So now he pins me one day after ducking him for some time, like possibly a month, like of him following up, Namdak. And it's someone I respect. I had asked someone I respect whether I can do that character on Mark's show. Kanebia, no, don't do it. So now I'm stuck between two people I respect.
And
Mark
one is
wants me to
hunting
do
you
it.
down.
So one time he pins me with a clip that had gone viral. Kanebia, do something about this. And I think it was that clip, yeah. No, he didn't pin me. I did a clip. The trend, there was a challenge, yeah. there was a challenge, DJ Khalid giving a lady money, and I'm
Oh yes, as he's saying.
yes,
Yeah,
as he's
Put
saying
that on
stuff.
the screen, man.
Yeah. So now, Kevin Getao, who was the producer of the trend, now challenges me. Says he wants me to do something on that. I'm like, I don't want to do it. Everyone has done it. Kila mtu. I can't do it unless I have a unique perspective that I'm excited about. And then, as we are going out for lunch, an idea hits me. Why don't I do a script of the clip and then reverse it? DJ Khalid taking away the money from the lady. And I think that works. So Mark takes that clip and plays it on Press Pass. I play that clip on Press Pass. Next week I need another clip from you. And it worked. So I was like, oh wow. So let me.
So and what does the background of all of this look like in terms of your life? In terms of, are you earning from all of this? Are you stable? What does home look like as all of this is happening?
I got mentorship of someone who understands negotiation. Captain Oto is a master negotiator. Kai. He's a master negotiator. So by the time they cancel the offside show and then they are retaining me, I went to show the boss Linus Kai what I was being paid for offside. So like, how did you get this money? You understand? So I had grown Ivo Kujua, and now I think my mind gets to a place of understanding value. And
So you're not a struggling artist by any means at this point. Like you have a decent abode where you stay decent. You can buy yourself some decent clothes. Are you driving yet?
I bought my first car at 25, I believe.
By Kenyan standards, well done. Man.
But that's a foolish decision in retrospect, as in what I've learned today.
What was your first car?
A Nissan Wing Road.
That's a nice car for
for
25-year-old. That's a nice car, man.
Then it was a very nice car. I actually spent that night at Larry's house after alienda kulala. I think nilala inje.
Looking at the card, married.
I was trying. No, he's introducing me to different forms of comedy then. But I've bought a car, man. So I'm trying to concentrate on this. But is the car fine?
Is the car fine?
But is the car okay, bana? I kept going to the parking lot. I think
and being on TV in any format at that stage, because this is almost pre-digital, or as a time when digital and TV are coming together, and then of course digital eventually blows up. But your face is becoming famous, right?
No. Then my face is nowhere. I'm behind the scenes.
But you're rubbing shoulders with the likes of Larry. Larry by then was already kind of
big deal, yes.
A big deal.
Yes.
So
and he was very patient with me, actually.
So as a young man, are you facing the same challenges all young men face in terms of, I'm the guy, I bought a car, look at me. You didn't go through any of that?
Nah.
What, and how did you keep grounded?
No, I come from a background of respect everybody. You're not, I've been raised to know I'm not, as in, first of all, we are human beings. That's a level playing field. Then from there is like, how do you and I relate? If we vibe, good vibes. I vibe with anyone. Doesn't matter.
That's a very fundamental thing. Then you escaped, because most people, when they start getting any form of success, especially young, I've seen in my industry.
What is success, Bana? When I meet someone on the road and they watch my show on YouTube, it is that person and 900,000 others, a million others, right? So this is a representation. This is a fraction of the people who are watching that content. I am blessed to meet the person. So where is the self-importance coming from?
It comes from human nature usually. Success usually tied to money.
That's foolishness.
You have money.
Aye.
Yes, it is foolishness, but it tends to be the path a lot of people succumb to. That's why at 25, for you to have that wherewithal is not common. You see it all around. We've discussed, my biggest interview ever was Caliph. And some of the things, the pitfalls he fell were, you can see the reasons around what fame, money, success, what society calls success. Because a lot of times society ties success to monetary, how much money you have. Is tied a lot of the time to success.
But I also think it depends on who you are. I am me. Like, I am the same me. Like, I am. If I meet someone and do you know some of the best episodes we've done are conversations that just random conversation. I was speaking to someone. I was like, hey, can you say that on camera? Ivo. Evo, like just like that. Evo.
That tends to be the thing with content. I found that
There's a reggae song inasemanga, I believe in everyone.
I believe in
everyone.
Yeah, that's a nice song.
Yes.
So moving from script writing, behind the scenes writing, to having the show and the Dr. Kingori show.
Yes.
How did that come about? That's Larry who fronted you?
Hey, that's a team. Like that's a team. And I play that scenario. That's a team. That's Larry, Emmanuel Juma, that's Effie Mwangi, that's Kevin Gitao, still a producer at Nation.
They came up with the concept?
No. I came up with the concept, but at different levels. The concept is not enough. There's Jamila Mohammed, who's at Citizen right now. That's Linus Kaikai. Like,
so when you're naming these people, what do you mean? What's their role?
Bas. Kevin Gitao is the person who, like, I have this idea, and he has the chest to push, right? So I'm an ideas person. He's the practical guy, like, let's do this. Larry is the person who niaje standards content, like, tuko happy. And also, at that time, before I start the Wicked edition, we do a pilot and then we test it on the trend as a segment, right? And then now there's, let's have this thing as a show. That's Linus Kaikai. He called as the segment was on air. It was like,
this can stand on its own.
This can stand on its own, right? And then after that, we go to at the boardroom levels. Like for a program to be approved at Nation, dear Lord, it's a process, okay? So we go through that process and then we get to, so that the boardroom where now they go to discuss.
So is that typically how a TV station works? There's all these layers.
Then I don't know if that's the way now, because I think those standards and checks really were very important. Okay, there are people who use that the wrong way, but they were very important to actually, as creators, I was Sean Paul loading. You believe in your product so much, but it takes, like, Nation used to have this thing called focus group, where they have people actually watch the program from different samples of audiences, and then they give data that is a reflection of how the audience will receive it. That's a process that's very important. So even to creators, you can even do that. You can get, there's a friend of mine who does that for people, and it's Amu. He can, if you have a product, unazampatia, he does a sample, audiences, anakupatia data, areas you can change, what people like, the age groups and stuff. So when you're going, people don't like the process, data, but it's very important.
Because it gives you the real picture of how well your idea is put together and how well it will be received.
Yes.
So eventually you get approved.
Yes.
What was that transition from behind the scenes to in front of the screen, being the main guy?
That's a miracle in itself, and Nation really went hard in supporting that program, because we had billboards everywhere, like had support your newspaper everywhere. Like, this is a different ball game.
You get nervous?
Nervous at this time, I think, and this is a great lesson in open-mindedness. We pitch the show as a full 20-minute comedy, like jokes, jokes. Then Linus Kaikai challenges me. The first episode we did, in terms of choosing topics, we decided to go with an episode on the police, right? Then Linus Kaikai challenges me. We actually did a pilot, full 20 minutes of jokes. And it's like, if your episode is about the police, why don't you have the police spokesman on set?
Yes.
And I think this gives birth to the concept of interviews. Like, you can have conversations. I've never done that. So now, I think someone had planted a seed in my head. When someone challenges you to something, the first reaction should not be, I can't do it. You'd rather fail while trying than just say, no, I can't do that.
Can do philosophy.
So now, I think that's where Nilieka Rashid Abdallah Bampa, I was with him, like, how do you do interviews? Because for me, he's a representation of what interviews are. Then Larry. And I think consultation, I consulted a lot, Kina Emmanuel Juma. And then the first interview we did, we disagreed as a team. Like, I had a team, like I was working with a team from Heartstrings, some of the most creative minds you can ever meet. They're actually making boss moves in the industry. So we had like a team of 5 like to put together the content. So I told them like, we're bringing the police spokesman. They were like, no, atatuharibia show.
What's their thinking behind saying atatuharibia show?
Because we went hard. Like sasa unajua sisi ni like ni rahisi comedy tumego hard. The things we've said, like no. So now I decide I already like the idea. Me, if I like an idea, I go hard. So now I book a meeting through someone from Daily Nation to go see the police spokesman then, Charles Owino. So I did my first mock interview in his office. I don't even think he knew that.
Is he a personable guy? Because I've seen his interviews. He seems like a nice, chilled guy.
You've seen him on Citizen. The guy is funny.
It's funny, eh?
Hey, kwanza he comes. So now he agrees to come. And then now on the day, sasa we disagree as a team. They say, let's have him, angoje inje. We do the first part of the show so that he comes in for the interview. I said, no, we can't do that. We risk it all now.
Let's integrate.
Yeah, acha akuje. So that kama it's unethical for him to be part of an interview, alafu he goes back to watch it, anapata there are things we said but he was not there.
Yeah.
So we said it, he's the mse mmoja alikuwa anazienjoy sana. And then there's a bite he says that really threw me off. Alinirusha nje kabisa. He said, and I think this is epic for me, kasema it's Kenyans who are corrupt. And he actually dramatized
I remember that.
Ati Kenyans, when they see a police officer, ati anaingia pesa, anatoa mfuko, anasema maumbo acha ni.
I think I remember that song.
And then he gets in character to do that. And I think we aired just, 9 minutes of, probably 40 minutes interview. And I think it was one of the most epic conversations we've ever had. And seeing him in that context, communicating in an easy form compared to how he communicates in the news, where it's easy to actually hate him. Like, it's funny how people are different in different contexts.
Yeah, I think the defense, especially when he was still in his role as a spokesperson, it would force him sometimes to defend positions that were just not sensible. But I'm curious, and this is my own personal curiosity. What does when it comes to a show like that, because of course you have a writer's room or a version of a writer's room, do you have a prompter of sorts to guide you? You just have the general idea and off the cuff?
For conversations?
For the show, generally.
For the show, you have to have a prompter because sometimes some of the jokes are directly connected to a video that is playing, and there's a team that's queuing that in, so you have that. But for the conversation, once you do your research, you know the context that the conversation is running, you just have the conversation.
And for that teleprompter kind of thing, is that something you have to train, or it's something you can learn like in an afternoon?
Nah, you can learn in an afternoon. It's just reading.
The reason I'm asking that because I'm thinking about starting a new segment, and I've just been doing some research around that.
Very easy.
So the show starts growing. What changes in your life?
What changes?
Because the Education was big, man.
Reception, number one. The second guest, not the second guest, one of the guests in the early stages of the show, I call him. Like, I introduce myself, and there's this new show we are doing, and he says, okay, Sawa, I'm at this hotel. Let's meet at 8 so that we discuss whether I'll come on the show. So I go meet him. Okay? So when I go meet him, I tell him it is ni mimi tuliongea na wewe, and this and that. Would like you to come on the show. We used to record on a Sunday. So are you in? Before he even answers, he picks his call and leaves. No, for real. Alishika tu simu akaenda.
Leaves you hanging?
Yes. But then he shows up on that day.
So what was that about?
Pride too, yeah. If you ask, no other explanation. Just pride. So now, it's funny that is... I did that show for 7 years.
We clearly don't want to say who, but it's okay.
Weekly. Yeah, weekly. We did that show weekly. I can't say who because he's probably a different person from who he was. So it's not fair to judge him on actions za kitambo na labda in context.
Maybe he's reformed.
Labda he was dealing with different things. So it's unfair for me to look at. So what happens is I noticed at some point that I remember us defending the need to come on the show. Then it got to a place where we had so many requests for people who want to come on the show. people that you can't even imagine.
Now, let me live here a bit. And by live here a bit, is I want to dwell here a bit.
Okay.
Because I am at that phase of... I have managed to get to some place in terms of my content. And it's getting slightly easier. It's time to get guests. But sometimes now, by the time you're reaching out, they know you. But I remember that early phase. Those episode 1 to like 5 where you're pitching... How long did that season last of people kind of giving you a hard time about coming? Ama Maringo, ama before it transition. How many when you talk about how many episodes in by the time now guys are blowing your team up or you up to say, when can we come? I want to come. When am I getting my invite?
Unajua, when we say no man is an island, no man is an island. I am a product of a very strong support system. At Nation, when you have Emmanuel Juma on your team, then you have Larry on your team, then you have Linus Kaikai on your team, then sometimes they even propose, what do you think of having so-and-so on your show? Like, oh, that's exciting. The person, I think, who didn't give, which is very funny, I think it was on our 10th episode, ama kitu kama hiyo, Chris Kirubi. I know someone who knows Chris Kirubi, and I call them, Kambia, is it possible that you link us up with Chris Kirubi to come to the show? Kasema zi, can't give you the number. Then I found my way. And I just called him directly. I was like, wow, yeah, I'm coming. Ni siku gani, nini? And he came.
People get keep people, eh?
People get keep people. And he came, like, I don't know. I think it was timing. It's one of the most quoted episodes for us at Nation. He came. And when he comes...
Is that the one where he removed money? He had
yes,
cash.
yes. He comes and I remember Linus Kaikai coming up to the office. I don't know what he was doing, coming up to the studio. I don't know what he was doing on Sunday at the office. And he was like, oh, like how you come to my place nata siku anajua. You understand? And I think there was some element of Kenyans received the show so well that it didn't take Pia long for people to want to be on the show, and the format had already picked. And I think we had very good feedback on the show. And I remember Mark Masai coming to show me after our first episode aired. I think a very respected journalist. I think I remember his name from newspaper columns. Oyunga Pala. I remember that today because Mark showed me that. Kusema, he had one of the tweets za kusema, this show has legs. Like, I remember.
That was early on, yeah?
The first episode, this show has legs. Like, I remember that when Mark Masai was showing me that, I was like, wow, interesting.
And TV at the time, TV is a different animal, especially in that era.
Yes.
And I know you've said how, of course, you're still the same Kingori of 96.
Personality.
Personally.
Yes.
But in my small capacity, I still get startled when people come to me because they know my show. TV is a different animal. So how was it being in the public? Like you're going to buy eggs in Nakumatt or wherever you used to do your shopping, and everyone now knows you. How was that for you?
I live a very simple life, Bana. I live a very simple life. I don't subscribe. I know it's weird, but I don't subscribe to the idea ya sijui celebrity. So, and I've also, like, for 7 years, kusalimiana na watu kwa barabara, it's normal. You understand? Like, niaje. And usually, nikisema I live a very simple life, I think the first time I get hit by, like, the impact of our show, two times. The first one was when I went to my former high school, just for clearance, because I'd never gone back to high school since then. And everything came to a standstill then. And I was like, oh, I've not mentioned Nkovio Boys, actually. Yes, when I went back there, that's number one. And number two, when someone came to my show, and in fact, their impression was, someone I respect, and the impression was they have come to do me a favor. Like, tumekuja tukusaidie. I've come to support you, okay? And I was like, okay, interesting. I didn't think much of it until I think after some time, someone accompanied him to Lodwa, and then akakuja akaniambia, we went with so-and-so in Lodwa. Kila mtu anamsalimia anamwambia, they've seen him on your show. And then he was like, kwani sijai kuwa kwa TV before?
I think I have an idea who that is, but I won't say.
No, don't say. Don't guess. Don't even guess.
I'll keep that one in my head. But how long before it starts becoming, I mean, targets, goals, ratings, views, because there's a back end of how well this episode did. Is there pressure?
The show evolved. I'm always, if you study the show very well, it wasn't just that jokes, nini. It used to evolve, the format, the way we do interviews. And I think my friend Larry was like, TV is about personality. Like bring at that time, and it's true. Like people want to see people they know, but we managed to change that.
So
that for me was a big deal. Kenyans received us properly, like for the Wicked edition. In that, one of the greatest achievements I feel, and the blessing that our audience has given us, is the trust that when we bring someone, it's someone who's worth their time, and they'll watch. Because we got to a place where it wasn't, Kwani, if you were to bring celebrities in Kenya, how long would you have lasted?
That's a very good point.
How long would you have lasted?
The trust was enough. So, and of course, yes, you guys created a blueprint around how I'm bringing a pilot, I'm bringing a such and such, a professional.
Yes.
Mira car driver.
Yes.
And in fact, I think some of those are way more interesting.
Very interesting.
Than a
Some
said
of the best
celeb or a politician.
Best.
Because anyway, you would run out of, if you want a politician, and not every celeb is interesting per se. So I think that's a format you created. But now moving on towards the towards like 2020, and was it 2017 around where things went digital, and TV started to suffer a bit, right? In terms of viewership, people now are going more to the digital space to watch stuff. What impact did that have on you guys as a show in terms of the brand you were associated with at the time? Did you start having conversations around it? Was there fear? What was that whole thing around?
No, I think the only time that things changed, that we almost left the show because we were like, what happens next? Was when COVID happened and we couldn't have an audience. So I was like, do we repeat shows?
A live audience, you mean?
Yes, it's a live audience. So I was like, I'm so used to, because it's a performance. Like I get to perform comedy for our audience before we have the conversation live in front of the audience. So COVID happens, so we can't do that anymore. So what does that mean? What next? And I almost contemplated not doing the show, but I'm glad we continued with it.
And who are the people in the audience? How does one get to be in the audience? What was that process?
It started as a formula of, we used to have campus students. Our first audience was from Daystar University, and then UON, and then JQuat. So, and then now a mixture, because at first we used to work with student leaders, and then we opened, when was that? I posted on my Facebook page when people knew the show, Niaje, if you want to come to the show, just send me an inbox. And when people started sending the inboxes, I gave the access to the platform to a friend who used to compile those names, the names, phone numbers.
First come, first serve.
Yes. And then compile a list. It was open to the public for very many years, actually. It created a database of, I think it was running into the thousands of people over the period of 7 years.
And at some point, you guys now have to, or rather, you chose to, let me not say have to, you chose to start a digital online platform where now you're you as the entity.
That started with the show.
With your YouTube channel.
That started with the show, yes.
So your original viewership. So who owns that?
Myself.
How did you negotiate that? The king of negotiating. How did you?
At the king of negotiating.
How did you convince them that you're going to start this digitally, but this is mine? But I own the trademark of the Wicked edition. Okay.
Because remember, when the seed to there's something we missed. I don't think I was confident enough to do a show, and Kazungu and Obina had been given an offer at K24 to do a show there, like the same format they did, and I was to branch with them as a writer. So I meet them. When I meet them, we met. We had a meeting, And they had been asked for name suggestions. And I told them, why don't you call it the Wicked Edition? They didn't like the name. So I kept the name and registered it. So when I get a chance to do a show on NTV, I called it the Wicked Edition.
So pivoting to digital was a non-issue in terms of the bureaucratic side of things. You already own the trademark.
The only time it almost became an issue, someone asked, ati, why I have the YouTube channel, and I asked Larry about that. Akaniambia mwenye akona shida kuja niambie. And when Larry says that, then your story measure.
It died like that. And now for you, because now your new format is the show you do right now doesn't have an audience. How was that transition now moving to doing interviews, to doing conversations? However, there's no live audience, because you said how during COVID that transition is something you struggled with.
We didn't know it was possible. Not that we struggled with. We didn't know it was possible. But we had some very interesting guest combinations, show ideas that worked, and people settled in. And it's funny that even with the audience, people, there was always a divide. Watu wanapiga kelele hapo, who are those guys? Hamwezi fanya kama mmenyamaza. And then when COVID comes, where is the audience? We miss the audience. Hey, it's too quiet. But then the guest combinations were so much good, so interesting that we picked on. Like, ilikuwa nini enough for us to settle in.
So now you have your own thing running, right?
Yes.
And I think I called you on the phone yesterday, almost in crisis mode, not even with respect to this, but with respect to putting a team together.
Yes.
Yeah. How did you go about putting your team together? Because I'm learning how important that is.
Maybe anytime I see there's a spirit nikiona nayo mtu ya kufanya job, I'd rather have them tumtafutie job than getting someone because they say they can do stuff. Because most of the times you find they can't do stuff.
So in this case, that professional accreditation in this context doesn't mean much nowadays, eh?
That doesn't work.
Passion.
Most of the people we have on the team, the things they do are self-taught. Most of the people. And what were self-taught, they will keep surprising you in every turn.
How's this journey been so far, doing your own thing now, without a newsroom behind you, just you?
Do you know, I had an offer for a show, like to do the Wicked Edition on another platform. And one time, I asked one of my mentors. In fact, I asked Jimmy Wanjigi, nilimuuliza tu directly. Nilimuuliza, I have an offer ya kufanya job, na I feel like I can do production. Alisema to self-employ. That has very many
undertones.
Not is it undertones? It could mean very many things. You understand? So at this time, I'm processing an offer. I was given an offer. It was so much money, but we were stuck at budgeting it. Like, ilikuwa do mob, and then we were like, tuko wengi. So,
how do you split?
It was
this?
ridiculous. Like,
How many were you?
Like, I had a friend of mine who does digital strategy. He really challenged me. Like, he put me in a setup. He's one of the most brilliant digital marketers. Akona digital agency inaitwa ADMI. No, sijaangalia kampuni yake for some time. He's anaitwa Gesora Mwasi. He's a gifted talent ule anawasa boardroom. So I walk a journey with him when I meet him before I leave Nation. So he's very good in his strategy. So but sasa tukikuja kwa production, sisi wote ni wa green. So I reach out to another friend of mine from the coast, also a producer, anaitwa Shiko. He introduces me to another producer. So we start doing budget ya production kama budget, right? Tukaanza kufanya budget in dollars. So now this took too much time. And I've left
What's
Nation.
too much time?
Too much time ni nimesikia na washwa. Like, what am I doing?
So
like
weeks.
I did my last show at Nation in January.
I'm talking weeks, months.
Weeks. I feel like
weeks is a long time for budget.
Yeah. No. In fact, budget was months, but me feeling like nawashwa, I need to do stuff. So now I decided to set up for a conversation. there's someone I meet at, again, one of my mentors' places, Gor Semelango. He introduces me to a military general from Tobago, named Dr. William Wallace.
And what's the introduction about?
So, no, I went to hang out with him, and then a friend, the ambassador, Dr. Wallace, also comes because he was in the country. So as we are vibing, I'm like, hey, Bana, you know stuff. And I'm like, Akia nani. Oh, now I meet Dr. Wallace. Oh, had I left Nation? No, I hadn't left Nation because I was hoping to do that episode on NTV. But he's so interesting. Design. I'm like, yeah, I have to do this.
We need to record.
We need to do this. And then, actually, my very first episode was featured. No, yes. So at the back of my mind, I have to have a conversation with Dr. Wallace. So I get wind that he's in the country. I have to set it up. So I plan. But before that, the very first episode, the first person who comes to my platform on YouTube before, as in after I've left Nation, he just came.
He volunteered himself.
And he came. Like I called him and he came. Is engineer Sami Onyango. He sells guns and he's very good. Like he's top master shooter. Marksman is an ni uchokozi. Like that's way below him. Like yako juu. Like master ni top level. So there's questions I needed to ask him. I wanted to do a documentary, a security. So I reached out to the authorities because I reached out to, there was a concept, actually, it was an interesting concept that I needed to, I had gone to the DCI offices. They have police units that we've never seen. You understand?
Yeah.
The units zenye niliambiwa ati kwanza kuna uniform fulani. I was told that how ata Al-Shabaab fears them more than the military.
They see those guys and they're like, hey.
Yeah, you are bad. So I'm like, sasa mimi, those are my kind of stuff. I want to know more. So I tried to set up that thing with Engineer Sami Nkambia. No, you come for an interview. And then he came for a conversation. So he came and we recorded that. So niko nayo inaniwasha. I have a conversation with Dr. Wallace. We record it. And then, so I'm starting to get in a zone. Like we are doing these conversations. I have a friend who I consult with a lot. Anaitwa Hari. He's one of my longest friends. So he mentions Damawa mobile spares. I'm like, what is this about? I've always been curious about how money works. So check out Dama Mapema. I reach out to her. She agrees to come. So I have now I've done 5 episodes. And when I'm leaving Nation, thinking of doing conversations, a friend of mine has a studio, and Jackson Mwangi. It's called Cine Studios. So he does photography. So he's Jackson Mwangi Photography. And then we used to converse a lot. Like our arguments and conversations about money can go for hours. Yeah. Right? So when I tell him, I'm leaving Nation, he's like, in the meantime, see, you can do nini. I can provide equipments for your first 5 productions.
On the house?
On the house, the first 5. Right? I go ahead and hire equipments from him for a bit before we got ours. But then for the first 5, he says it's on the house. So easy, it's on the house. Ndio. I call Engineer Sami, we pop, because he set up Aikwangi jokes. So we pop Dama, we pop Dr. Wallace, we pop. So we have these episodes. And we have a YouTube channel.
And what are the fruits comparatively? And by fruits, you don't have to give me the exact figure. But by the time you're halfway to this point on this journey, specifically now your YouTube, how are the fruits comparatively?
Fruits, in
Pesa.
Or at Pesa.
Yeah.
First, remember, I'm doing this, nikijiambia, I have an offer on the table, yeah, Domob.
You will revisit, yeah?
I have an offer at Do, and I can continue doing what I'm doing in its comfort zone, okay? Then when I started releasing these episodes, they are catching on, and people share in my curiosity, and we start building an audience. I don't even know how I forgot to follow up that tulikuwa now.
You know I've been back.
No, I don't. By the way, I've never been back. Like, I don't know how. Like, somehow it just happened that we did. Like, from the passion of like, hey, niaje, let's to finish easy conversation. Let's do it. And I'm also working with a team, and like people who like let's build something. Let's build something.
Which is important. I want to ask you that because we share the same thing around. You don't want works for hire. There's that version of a team, but you want people also invested in the bigger vision.
You never lose with that.
Yeah.
You never lose with that. So when we started, and then so now when we started, like when our audience started like joining into what we have unapata, so now you can have sponsors on board to help pay the bills up and apale, and then you're like, wow, this you can actually scale. And it's a mutually beneficial arrangement where we learn with people, because I also get to learn on the platform. Our audience gets to learn. And then when we have someone who is in business, because our platform is majorly business, and you'd like us to put in a good word with the audience, now you're doing some good work and you can help us pay the bills. Wow.
And I think you had built that trust already with an audience. Now they just moved to the digital, but over time, whatever you did before on TV, I think the trust transfer was not difficult. I've seen how you.
But I think we have built a different audience. Like there's our platform. I left Nation when we had around 400,000 subscribers. In the 1.5 years I've been out of Nation, we are closing in on 700,000 subscribers. Most of these people are, I believe, partly a different audience, because I have noted on my Facebook page, people ask, uliendanga wapi?
Oh, so guys,
you understand?
So this is an age thing? You think that
I don't think
you've
it's
gotten
an
a
age
younger
thing.
audience on
It's
board?
a platform thing, I believe. And not, in terms of audience, majority of our audience is 25 to 34. That's the majority, then followed by 44 onwards. You understand?
Yeah.
So, and it's very funny how data works. Most of your audience will fall within your age. I don't know how.
I tend to see that as well.
Yes.
When I look at the
analytics. So most of our audience, our new audience, is almost 50% of the audience we built at Nation for 7 years, in 1.5 years.
Wow.
Yes.
That's big. But before I ask you what your ultimate vision for this thing is, you talked about mentorship, and that's something I go back and forth with personally, because I have someone who I look up to as a mentor. Perhaps they don't even know, but I seek their counsel in a way that to me is mentorship. But we've never had the discussion like you're my mentor or I'm your mentee. How important has that been for you in shaping this whole journey? Like how important has that mentorship been?
Bro.
And how many do you have?
Let me tell you. You think you know until you meet people who have experienced time. If you sit with Gorse Melango for 1 hour, you will know how much you don't know. Like at a perspective. Like when you come with, I know, nini. Another person, I think for someone like, for the sessions I've had, like for the sessions I've been privileged to sit down with Jimmy Wanjigi, who like toa politician, angalia businessman. Like look at how he does mathematics. Looking at money. We unataka kutengeneza ukipata 100k, ukipata 1 million uko sawa. Unaangalia vile mtu anapiga hesabu. Like there's a math he did for me. You're looking at the Kenyan, as in I was paka na jembe.
But even the things because not to jinx it, right now I'm in talks with him for a potential episode. And of course, I've gotten to know him intricately in the last 2 years. He thinks on a world level.
Ndio nakwambia. When he comes and sits anakwambia ati the sub-Saharan market iko na watu fulani. So, and then you start thinking of business from that level. There's one time alini explain a concept, and it's true. He explains that when Kibaki comes to power, we're in the boda economy, the bicycle. Okay? And I remember it. Like, unaona, most of the means of transport.
Yes.
But Juja is still in 2002. So, niyo bicycle. I was surprised to see that in Juja, man.
Shout out Juja.
Bana. Like, the bicycles, I stopped seeing them. Like, it was in Eotwe. But I only see them.
That was actually transitional.
You understand? So, and then they opened the market unapata watu wakaingia kwa motorbike, and I remember around 2005 sasa motorbikes popping, like people using transport for bikes, you understand? So the general population, like there's a segment of Kenyans that move from bike to Nduthi, and then from there unapata kidogo now we move to Uber. Like it's an element unaweza observe useme ina move hivi na hivi. So ukiangalia when he speaks in terms of design ama empowerment, he looks when he came to NTV, I asked him like the concept behind like the Thika Road and the bypass. Akasema when you ukiweka hapa it launches, it unlocks an economy, unapata kuna settlements hapa, price of land inapanda, value, kuna an ecosystem, and hiyo umeempower watu, and then you're like unajipia wow.
So would you give him your vote? Because we cannot deny who we are. We're Kenyans. It doesn't matter where you go. If you go to
would I give him my vote? Personally, from where I sit, he's a brilliant mind, like super, like 100%. But there are guarantees I would want to have, personally, Kimimi. I'm not speaking for anyone. There are guarantees that I would want to have. And if I had those guarantees, I wouldn't hesitate. Unajua kuna kitu ya, if guarantees are kama he can do, he's very business oriented. And if he can do hizo vitu on a national scale, because I don't know.
I always say this about specifically Jimmy, and I discussed him recently on Ikonini. The difference I see with the status quo in terms of this crude accumulation of wealth that we keep seeing from our leaders, where people enter power with the sole intention of enriching themselves till they are vomiting money or vomiting wealth almost. I see him as different in that world over, people transact with government. That's been time immemorial. But I see him as someone who will not do things that are where he may benefit, is not benefiting at the expense of everything. You know, I think we have gotten almost used to a dispensation where something can cost 10 million, then it's charged as at $1 billion, you know, that kind of thing. And I see him as a different version of where he may find a way to benefit, but not at the expense, and not in that greedy way where it's like, what are we doing here? You're setting back the country 50 years by such a decision. So that's why, because the question came up about, but isn't Jimmy just like these other state people? And that's why I always defend him. And also when he talks, you can see there's an ideology behind his vision. It's not just tribal or power for power's sake. That's what I see comes across. And that's why I'm very intrigued about him.
If Mimi, there are certain guarantees that if I got, I would even campaign for him for free. Certain guarantees. But that then again, he's someone who has his own life. His politics does not depend on me. You understand? But I'm like, the country could benefit from such brilliant minds even more.
But before we get to vision, how do you think? How do you feel around how Kenya is doing? And when I say Kenya is doing, I'm talking about the general consensus around how people feel about the leadership right now and the future prospects for the country. We are building up to the anniversary of what happened last year, 25th. Everyone's aware of what that was. How do you think things have changed? And how do you feel about the current situation, the current state of things?
On my way here, I shared something with my friend Milka. This country, we are in a very bad state, and it is not now. Tabia yetu mbaya ilianza kitambo. Sina documentary. I'm a big fan of information. Of a comparison between Kenya and Tanzania in 1970. Right? And I have purposed to read Mzee Nyerere's book by the end of this month, because I did not know that Tanzania had such a brilliant first head of state. And I'm like, whoa, that kind of mindset, yani if he implemented some of the things I saw him talk about Tanzania, Kenya hata tungewaona.
This is Julius?
Yes.
Visionary.
Very visionary. So now, and I hope I'm not biased by Sijuati, just a clip, but from what I judged. So in the same clip, they bring the head of the Kenya Planters Cooperative Union then, who happens to be Mzee Jomo Kenyatta's brother. And then the journalist asks him a question about coffee in Kenya. And by the way, when Jimmy comes to your show, ask him about coffee. He's very passionate about that. He understands the business inside out. So he gets asked by a journalist. It's on YouTube. It's public. He gets asked, like, if the benefits of coffee, Kenyan coffee, in the European market trickle down to Kenya. He says no. Kenyan coffee is sold by cooperatives to the auctions, the coffee auction. It's only a few farmers, like white settler farmers, who can sell directly to the European market, where they can get good money. And then the head of the Kenya Planters Cooperative Union, the person in charge of looking at the interest of the country, gets asked, why don't you sell to the European market directly? He said, we are not interested in selling to the European market. And that's 1970. Those are the people who are in positions of leadership.
And such a decision to not literally has paved the way for some of the things we suffer from right now, because such a decision, if done correctly,
Yes.
would have meant that we would be in a very different...
Yes, that's number one. Number two, one of my favorite people on our platform, in fact, we're actually having him on for the second time, and it's Robert Mwangi, MBA, if I may add. Robert Mwangi is a brilliant writer. He's been in the medical field in the US for a long time. He has 4 books. I read the first book and I'm like, hey, if the first book is this good, will I disappoint myself by reading the others?
So the name, please, if you recall.
The first book in it was The President's Advisor. His other book in it was Dollar Altar. If you can lay your hands on those two. So now, he explains to us a concept on the show. Blood, like your blood pumping. Like you need like 5 liters of blood to be pumped through your body 5 times every minute, I think, if I'm not wrong. I may have gotten the figures wrong, right? And this is in comparison to the economy. I'll get there. So now he says that your heart uses the same blood in a cleaned, purified, in a ruditenna. But if you are to be given blood from an outside source every time you need it, right? For your normal functioning, right? For your normal functioning, by the age 70, you'll need around 183 million liters of blood. But by design, the 5 liters is enough. It will find a way you could replenish, but you don't get from an external source. Here's where the link to the economy comes. Money from Kenya flows outside, right? And he gives an example where he goes to a supermarket and sees the products, almost everything on the shelves, made from India, made from China, made in Thailand, made in Wapi, the toothpaste, the soap, and everything, right? So he says that we have employed people outside the country. So we work, we make money, and that money goes to economies.
Foreign economies, yeah.
Right? Money does not circulate kisisi. Like you don't get a chance to build something with money before you pass it on to another Kenyan. Ile the money you have, you give it to the supermarket, itumwe iende. That was very depressing because that's basically...
Was that by design?
It's by design. It's by design.
To benefit a few people.
To benefit a few people, right? And there is another book that ukisoma, you will be depressed. And I say that kama you are a faint-hearted person, don't try.
Not for the faint-hearted.
Not for the
Disclaimer.
faint-hearted. When you read it, you see Kenyan politics for what it is. And I think he's a former MP. The writer is a former MP and one of my favorite writers in Kenya. And it was Joe Hamisi. The book is called Looters and Grabbers. Bro, you've not seen scandals. You've not seen the image of how rotten our system is. And now, the paradox of how I think, right? A friend, I know someone who was opening a clinic and they needed This is just to give you an example of how rotten the system is. And probably you can tell us what you think. So a friend is opening a clinic in your neighborhood. Let me say in your neighborhood. And akifungua hii clinic, there's a certificate they would need. And it's 150K. But the system is not working. Right? So haezi fanya job before this comes, but he needs to treat people. But the system is not working. So the kanjo guy responsible to checking whether you have that cert, anakuambia umlipe 20K, right? And then he gives you time to wait for the system to work. If he does that to 100 like locations in a month, akona pesa ngapi?
So crazy money.
2 million.
2 million easy.
Yes.
So it's in his favor for the system not to work.
Na umse salary yake is probably 50, 60K. Do you think this person, there's a way this system works if every month, like hata kama akona roho nzuri, how is he going back to a salary of 60K na he has found a loophole that gives them 2 million shillings every month?
And,
right?
And they would go above and beyond to ensure that the system never works.
Because the system working is getting them out of business. And number two, Governor Sonko made some very damning allegations. Akasema, he was once approached with 50 million. 60, yes.
Per day.
Right?
That one stuck with me. A lot of Kenyans missed that. I mean, I've said it tons of times here. When he did that random episode with Kibe, and they were at some place not far from here.
Yes.
And he leaked that, the governor's cut was 60 million a day.
Yes.
I did that math. And I was like, okay, if that's the Nairobi governor only, if this is top down, mine is 60, I'm just Nairobi. What about the guy at the top?
Good questions. And then you ask yourself, this 60 million is for you to allow something, for you to go against the grain, or for you to, like, this is what, let's call it corruption, okay? Niliona corruption is a rosy name.
Allegedly.
For thief, yes, for stealing. So now you ask yourself, if these things do happen, as they are alleged, okay? What's the place of things working? Like, if you are elected as a governor and you've been asked to choose between 60 million or your life.
The other day, I interviewed Babu and he said something interesting that changed my thought in as much as an unlikely source. He said, asked him the same thing. I'm like, okay, governor, you talk a big game, you want to be governor, but all you hear about governorship is once you're in there, what do you meet? There? Cartels.
Yes.
But he said, but I have the people. But I have the people. And if you think about that statement profoundly, if I became governor and genuinely I want to do the right thing, and I come and snitch to the people who put me there, like, hey, by the way, kuna hawa say, they don't want me to do this, they're pressuring me like this. You can actually do something. The people can actually protect you from said cartel. It's just that we've been...
I don't want to promote a defeatist narrative, but I'm one of the people who really ask myself whether this is just my thoughts, not backed by any facts, whether someone like the former president of Tanzania, Magufuli, died of natural causes.
Of course he didn't. I know for a fact he didn't.
You understand?
Yeah.
What does Magufuli represent? What does Magufuli represent? Magufuli represents going against the proverbial system.
And it would also behoove even external interests. I'm talking about East African heads.
Didn't he have the people?
To collaborate to get him out of there.
Didn't he have the people?
But see, the machine there was bigger because this was global. You cannot, as you're saying, hakuna COVID. And the world has agreed, and the cabal that runs the world has agreed there's COVID. You in East Africa there are saying there's no COVID.
That is on that level, but pia on the level a seat like the governor, people operate like that. I've had allegations of something like a minister doesn't make decisions in a ministry sometimes because you find someone has been there since 1972. Unamwambia nini?
He has the
he knows the system inside. Unamwambia nini?
But then you said you used the word like defeatist, and I don't put that on you. It's on all of us because sometimes we've been battered. we know what we can be as a country, and that's the worst part. We know what Kenya can be because of the potential we have, even individually as people. We know Kenyans what you travel out there, and you realize, higher. Us guys are some serious guys. You know, we think well, we're well educated, we are confident in certain arenas, but when it comes to the plight of poor leadership, we kind of tuck our tails. Of course, last year there was an expression of FU almost, like, you guys know this is too much now. But since then, it's just been kind of dissipating. Things have almost gotten worse. I feel like the leadership have gotten more emboldened. And for lack of a better expression, it's become almost nye bubu.
And it's very annoying. It's very annoying. And Sasa, the problem with being exposed to the knowledge I've been exposed to, thinking on both directions is very, very scary. One, you feel like the government is provoking people.
It feels that way,
Yeah, it's provoking people, but we are toying on the edges. I once had a guest on the show, Eotwe John. John explained to me, he's from Congo, and he explained to me, there are people who say like, oh, hata kama we have a bad system, at least we have a system. So he's from Congo, and his story sticks with me because he explains a story where when war broke out, they came from a fairly well background, and they took what they could carry from their house, TV, nini, radio, two valuables that you can carry. And they walk for days and they find themselves in Congo forest. Okay? They find themselves in Congo forest. And he says that he remembers the only, what his father had. What his father had was, his father was the one who had remained na amebaki tu, because mnafika mahali you throw away the TV. Mnafika mahali you throw. So alikuwa amevaa karatasi, like a nylon paper, polythene, yes. And for him, he was like Kenyans toy with peace, right? And this goes for both sides, both politicians, because I've seen someone say that politicians are using the shield of police officers, right? But we forget what this actually means, okay? I started with that to give a background. Miguna writes in his book, Treason, that on average, when a country goes the direction of anarchy, like, oh, toa mtu kwa serikali, it takes on average of 50 years before ati vitu zirudi normal, okay? Before vitu zirudi normal, okay? And you don't want to see human beings when things are abnormal.
We romanticize, I'll phrase it differently. You said we toy with peace, I'd say we romanticize war.
Yes.
Until you see it.
Yes.
You know, think of Sudan, both Sudans.
Yes.
Congo, like you've mentioned.
Somalia.
Burundi.
Yes.
If you talk to people from I saw South Sudan firsthand. I worked there a bit, and I was like, whoa, we never want to go the direction of war, man.
Exactly. So now something happened last year, right? Even to get the president to go to a Twitter space. I hope he listened. I was hoping he listened. Because imagine all they need to do is listen. All they need to do is do their job. When you see police, someone has been killed in police custody, how does that happen? You understand?
And today,
like, you're supposed to uphold the law, you're breaking the law. So because you hold that office, you understand? Like whoever did that, like someone actually did it, right? You are provoking people. The opposite is when if people like, and people's power is very bad, is people are powerful because unaona hiyo people's action. Hiyo ni mbaya sana. But then what it looks like, unaona, let's say for example, if Gen Zs were able to like chuck the president out of office, do you know that marks the end of civilization in Kenya? Because whoever comes next, hata ukislight kidogo wanakutoa. You understand? But then again, hawa wenye wako in charge and we almost lost the country, what are they doing?
Is that a lack of care? Is it bravado? Is it pride?
No, they live in a bubble. There's a conversation we are having. It's in one of our coming episodes. But human beings are crude. The lady we have on the episode, Eotwe Josiane, her case is the Rwanda story. Her mom gets cornered with her siblings in the house, and when they get cornered, And the people who were cornering them used to be their neighbors. Then they were hacking people with machetes. So the mom akawapatia ofa, akamwambia the guy mwenye alikuwa anataka kuwakata anaitwa Ninja, akamwambia cause akona watoi wake, akasema do this, don't kill us basi with pangas, shoot us. Then the guy was like, no, bullets are expensive unless you pay for them. She offers money. The guy says like, that's not enough. She writes them a check. And then they make a deal. Akamwambia, because I've paid you, I want to make sure that you've held your end of the deal. Kill the children first, and then she gets killed last, so that she makes sure that this guy may honor the deal.
That sounds like a scene from hell.
And he does that. And guess what? Josiane and her last-born sister can hear the bullets one by one from a neighbor's house.
And I think she's told her story before, right?
I don't know. I've just read her book.
But, you bring up such a good, horrific thing and that should sensitize people about the potentiality of losing the normalcy or the country going to shit, so lack of a better word.
But the politicians are provoking people. Ndio nasema, I wonder whether they know.
Is it conscious? That's a good question.
I think they think Kenyans are cowards.
Because someone dying, Daktari, right now in police custody, when the Gen Z thing looms, I mean, that's tone deaf, not even tone deaf, because it's human life that was lost.
And the comments they are making after.
Like Karen, what Karen says, Atina, oh my God. So, do you have hope for the country? Or, because a lot of people that I speak to, especially my age mates who are in the same age bracket, go between burn it down. Of course, that's momentarily because you just feel like these guys are shitting on us, and I can only control what I can control. Let me just do my thing and let me just endelea na hii lane yangu. I cannot change anything.
Najua, when you find a smart Kenyan, you find a smart Kenyan who is properly smart, and you find a foolish Kenyan, you find a foolish Kenyan. Like, this country is hanging on a thread, if you ask me, because there are people who feel like in chaos they can loot. But how long can you loot a supermarket?
That's a one day affair.
You understand? And when people cross to survival, that's now a whole new level. And that's what happens when chaos happens. And politicians are not doing people a favor. Now, the mistake we made was we made politics so lucrative in Kenya. So lucrative that people are willing to sell everything just to go there. So we are partly to blame as Kenyans because we trade. Okay, it's a rabbit hole. It's a chicken and egg thing, because you would say it's politicians who are responsible for the miseducation of Kenyans. Lack of civic education is a government responsibility. People don't know the value of their vote, for example. You don't know. And one of the perfect examples, I have two perfect examples of how governments work. One is a narrative that goes around. I think Stalin, the dictator, he once called his employees akashika kuku, a chicken, then plucked the feathers kabisa. It was painful, the chicken making noise, kai pluck, and then he released the chicken, and then he picked some maize, then started dropping. The chicken came back. And that is
an analogy,
a typical example of how voters operate.
Do you think
you suffer for 5 years, and then they come to the ground, give you 1,000 bob, you put them back in?
I think it's also Stockholm syndrome and mass. Like, people are in love with their captor.
People are foolish in groups.
People are in love with their captor. When you see now that they're being able to put people back to the tribal thing, which we thought we had made some strides against the last 2.5 years, and we're just being shown like, you guys, all I have to do is just say I'm a tribal kingpin, and you guys fall in line. And it's such a scary prospect. But you said something. Are we cowards, though? I feel like, are we cowards or our hands tied? Which is it?
No. We are hopeful. We are hoping that something good will happen. We are hoping that. And sasa now, people have marked, I think in the group mentality of Kenyans, people are hoping. Unajua, ideally, if the president, like say, if the government underperforms, there should, I'm an MP, there should be a recall. Like, no, it's our resources, Rudium. You understand? But now we're like, 2027, like you finish.
Where did that
You
narrative
eat-
change?
You eat till you finish. You eat till you finish. Next time hatutakupea.
I feel like there's a point, and was that funded? Because how did it move? Time passed.
What, as in terms of?
There was a point in time where all of a sudden it just jumped to 2027.
No,
When the conversation, as you said, was Tokeni. What was that point that?
No, I think it's generally we've been programmed to punish politicians after 5 years, but they also know Kenyan mob psychology. They will deal with you when they get there. They will mobilize. They know people are desperate.
One of my mentors happens to be a politician, and he ended up there circumstantially. But he was telling me, in as much as one term is people think and feel positive about it, it's like it's going to be very hard. And he said, these guys are as nervous as one would be like on sports day. Let's say you're the fastest runner. So you will still have some butterflies, but it's not that deep. It's like these guys already jipangai. We think we have, we have them in one term, yet for them on their side of things, they've put their ducks in a row.
They know, and it's the truth. It's the truth, because Kenyans, most people, I was surprised. Like for the protests last year, I was surprised that my friend who's a doctor, the ile ya kwanza nilikuwa like, even doctors wameenda kwa barabara and stuff. But usually people are, what happens, like gava inaongeza mafuta na 14 bob. People complain for 2 days, alafu the next 3 days gari zimejaa kwa barabara. We adjust. You understand?
We're forced to. Yes.
We are not forced to, we adjust. Okay? We'll complain at your VAT, then we adjust. You understand? We adjust. Why? For people, people are comfortable where they are. Like let's say uko na kajob, uko na nini, you feel comfortable. You feel like, hata mkienda kwa barabara, mnatuharibia tusiende kazi. You understand? Why are you protesting? Why are you protesting, Ati? You feel like you can pay rent. So our say protest, they are getting in your way of paying rent.
Surviving.
They are getting in the way of your survival. You understand? So, and I think that's majority. Because when I look at the protests, I'm stuck between, like, people were angry, ile ya mobilization, because after some time it died down, right? People were angry, were angry at the government, legit, walikuwa na feel let down, walikuwa na feel the government is nini, ama kulikuwa na a hand ya mobilization. Because I've read on how the foreign governments do na kutoa pesa ya mobilization, and they actually go ahead and topple.
They know how to start.
You understand? So nowadays I'm very, very careful. I'm very, very careful in terms of what I consume kwa mtandao. Because there are people who genuinely fight for country, but there are people who are in business. I was shocked. I've not independently verified this, but I've heard that one of the scandals that people were shouting, as in people were mad about, people were angry for, right? Kumbe ilikuwa watu wamekosana at the deal level, then someone decided to leak and kukasirisha watu. So by the way, while we are mad at the same time, it's not that the person ati mwenye ana support the protest is a good person. They're just someone who had missed out on something.
Yes.
So what's real and what's not? And we had a conversation with Linjiro, and it opened up a lot of things in terms of how people think. Say someone has been killed, right, in police custody. The people who are in government, okay, ukiingia kwa hiyo nini, Kenyans in general have stood with the gentleman Ojwang. Yes. People have stood with Ojwang. People are like, this cannot happen. We can't allow this, okay? But then there are bloggers aligned to the former opposition, ODM, who are now in government, who ideally would be speaking for justice, appear to be defending the actions.
Which really speaks to selfish interests.
Yes, and I think when you see that, unajiuliza, kama ni hivi ndio kunaenda, what Linjiro told us is the truth. Like, you give people a few positions, you own them.
And unfortunately, we've seen that even with what we thought was a different generation. with the likes of...
Hakuna cha different generation. I was so fixated on this tribalism thing to understand why people are tribal until I read the history of human beings. Nikaona this concept here, people being grouped in terms of identity, is a super tool that has been used since time immemorial. So unless you are aware of the games that get played, you cannot.
You'll always be a
liberated.
victim.
It doesn't matter. Ati umesoma, ati you are a sijui medicine, sijui nini, PhD, and you don't know, you have not taken time to understand how human beings are grouped and the politics of identity, you will still be a slave.
Now, as we land the plane, before I ask you the final question, the thing around consciousness, I feel, is what I've come to learn is consciousness is not static. You can reach a point of enlightenment around a specific thing. It could be politics or the world around you. But what I find is, and it's also a tool that's used, the rigors of life have you getting in and out of consciousness. So, like you said, there are people who feel like, hey, we need to get back to work. We need to go back to job to earn our keep. We need to. So you keep having moments of consciousness like we need to change the system. And then now the rigors of life, bills, job, your daily bread, like your daily thing just takes up over and you keep reversing. So that system of keeping people in a constant state of, well, even what is called the middle class, it's survival. It's we're all living almost, paycheck to paycheck. It's maybe now it's a more refined version of that. But keeping people in that state also allows a lot of the status quo to continue, which I think is a tool that the powers that be have mastered, keeping people poor. But as we land the plane, like I like to say, what's your vision for your show? What is the ultimate for you? What is self-actualization on this quest that you're on this journey that you're on?
Oh, okay. I'm a big fan of learning. I'm a big fan of information. One of my favorite topics is understanding how money works. I'm also very curious on the idea of decisions we make at certain points. I'm a big beneficiary of a seed that someone planted in my head of there's knowledge beyond what we learned in school. Like when God introduced me to the reading culture. So I'm like, I'm empathetic by nature. Like, I wish I could give everyone money, okay? But then I found a way into putting information out there, what I have learned, sharing with the masses, so that as many people as possible can get to learn what I have learned, right? And I think the most humbling thing for me in what I do is when I meet someone and they're like, when I meet someone and they're like, there's an episode you did, it really changed my business traditions, opinions, trajectory, and helped in decision making, and their life changed for the better, right? I may not have given that person money. I probably can't afford to give everyone money, right? But by virtue of the fact that I have known things that have worked for me, getting to share that, it may not benefit everybody, right? But whoever out there, like when we throw an episode out, whoever out there gets the it moment from something we've done, that for me is everything.
That's deep and profound. In closing, I'd like to just say something to my audience, something, just could be a plug, it could be just something to encourage my audience. My audience are a lot of 18 to 25, 35. You're someone who's been successful in a specific arena and you seem to be pushing the culture forward. Maybe just some words of some Dr. Kingori words of encouragement to my audience as we close.
I think in summary, just read good books. It changes your life. Everything you're struggling with, everything you like to know is hidden in a book. I used to underestimate that a lot, but please read good books. Ingia kama kwa website ya Nuria, ingia kwa recommendation, fanya search. There's a book for everything. Read. There's someone for ages. One of my favorite basic finance books inaitwa The Richest Man in Babylon. It's written in the pre-Jesus time. And when you read that book, the principles of money have never changed. Have never changed at all, right? I look at my life pre and post the reading culture. I told you I'm scared of the person I would have become if I did not expose, I did not, that seed of understanding the world better was not planted in me. So read good books.
And I also I'll just echo the thing for mentorship and people. There are people who know more. So that's
Yes.
something philosophically you learn as you grow older, that it's always good to enrich yourself from such people.
100%.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Kingori, it's
you.
been every other time with Eric. I like to just keep the doors open, man. Anytime you have something you feel you want to get off your chest, I know you're always on the other side of things. Sometimes it's also good for people to hear your perspective. I've learned a lot today. I've gotten to see and pick your brain. I like how you think. I like that thirst for knowledge, man. I love that. That's something we share. I even said that on your show.
Thank you.
So thank you for making time. Thank you for honoring the invite. I put him on the spot. I asked him in front of his 600K guys at the time. But you honored it all the same. So thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And I look forward to many more engagements.
Me too. And thank you for also coming to our episode. It was one of the best, actually.
I really enjoyed it as well. I watched it back. I was like, wow, that was a fire interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Asante sana.
Every other time with Eric, if you haven't subscribed, you are slacking, man. It's time to subscribe. Dr. Kingori, it's a wrap.